Good day. My name is Ed Boquillan. I'm the Superintendent Director of Minuteman Regional High School. I want to talk about our FY22 budget. Overall, our operating budget is up a modest 2.4%. Our operating capital and debt is up about $400,000. And our MSBA project debt, which is the biggest contributing factor to the increase in our overall budget, is up 26%. We have been preparing the towns for our final borrowing, and that really begins to hit the budget in FY22. I just wanted to scroll through some points of pride for Minuteman Acton graduates from 2021 class in their labs or on their sports teams. Also this year, Ellie from horticulture from Acton was our freshman class president. See Dylan in biotech. Sam is in our multimedia program in our technical theater. And Dylan in engineering. These are just a few of the students from Acton. They also participated in our robotics and automation and engineering first robotics team. They actually won 2 awards in their first project together. And also Skills USA, which is an international organization highlighting leadership and skills competition for students in career and technical education. 3 students from Agawam actually medaled in the state championships, and they will be moving on. Also, we have Minuteman Technical Institute, an adult program. And here Brian from Acton recently completed the electrical program, and he's there with his 2 instructors. And one of our great alumni from Acton, from Minuteman, is Sophia Lee. She's currently at Carnegie Mellon, was a great student in our engineering program. She also helped start a Girls in STEM program, and we're very proud, as Acton should be, of Sophia. So getting to the budget, our priorities for next year was to obviously protect student and staff health, deliver high quality career vocational technical education. We are starting an animal science vet assisting program this fall. We're also expanding our engineering and robotics automation program into the logistics space. We will be closing out the MSBA budget project. We are constructing athletic fields and hope to be ramping up our facilities rental and revenue. And our biggest challenge coming into the next fiscal year, into the next school year, is increasing enrollment capacity. Admissions and enrollment has been a topic of discussion at Minuteman for many years. This year we received more applications from in-district and out-of-district students than we ever have. About 280 in-district applications and well over 100 applications for enrollment in the fall from out-of-district communities, including the 7 communities that left the district. Acton's historical enrollment has averaged around 30 students. Back in 2-3 years ago, it started to climb. This past October 2020, there were 56 Acton students. And applications for the fall from our member towns, as I mentioned, we had over 280 applications for 200 slots total. And I'll mention that 200 slots is greater than our design enrollment. Our design enrollment is 628, and if you divide that by 4, it's about 160 students a year. But I believe we can increase capacity without additional borrowing. So Acton had 23 slots. It's a slot allocation formula that's based upon the last 2 years of enrollment. We had 35 eligible applicants from Acton for the freshman class. And eligible in this case means they just completed their application. We offered admission to 35, all of the students, and 30 have committed to enrolling this fall. And if you look at the seniors that have graduated and those that are enrolling, Acton's October 1 for 2021 will be somewhere between 75 and 80 students. Special education continues to be highly enrolled. This past year, about 46% of our students were receiving some sort of support on an IEP. So our overall budget is $27,600,000. That's 8.4% above this year. The majority of that increase is in our borrowing for the MSBA budget for the new school. If you break down Acton's assessment of $2.2 million, about $900,000 is a required contribution that's set by the state. There's a small adjustment for choice. Acton's share of our transportation for next year is $75,000. Operating assessment is $640,000. There is some debt and capital assessment within the operating budget. And then the building project debt service is about $450,000 for Acton, which has been excluded by a previous action by Acton town meeting. So the Acton assessment is $2.18 million for next year. That's an increase of about $457,000. Some of the assumptions we made around revenue, and as I'm recording this, we don't have a state budget that's finalized, so these are estimates and we try to be conservative. You'll see a decrease in Chapter 78, a decrease in transportation aid. The decrease in transportation aid is based upon having to go to remote learning in March of last year, so we didn't use our transportation the way we would have in a normal year. And our reimbursement is based upon actual expenditures, so that did drop. Tuition revenues are down from the prior year. We are using more current year tuition. That's tuition we're going to collect from out-of-district students next fiscal year. The current capital fee is about $500,000. We're going to be using more of next year's capital fee that we collect during the year. And the reason we do this is to keep member assessments down. So the total increase in required member assessments is a little over $2 million. And again, I use the word assumptions here. Some other aspects of the budget that we had to plan for. We feel like COVID is going to be with us for some time in the fall. We're not sure how, but we have to be ready for hybrid model and a remote learning. We may have to pivot to that. We may have reduced or unknown state and federal aid. Student interest continues. We're beyond our design capacity, and we have to develop cost-effective plans to increase capacity. Some other drivers were in the year 2 of a 3-year collective bargaining agreement. Next year is 2.25% increase. The third year is 2%. We have seen some increase in electrical and heat utility costs, which we're tracking, so we need to plan for that. Maintenance contracts on our new equipment and on our field operations is going to increase. Property insurance has increased because we have a new building. And for the first time in many years, I'm reporting a reduction in health insurance due mainly to a net reduction in FTEs. And transportation is down because we budgeted for a certain amount. We got a competitive bidding process and we were able to secure a contract that was less than what we budgeted for. Our athletic fields, our ESCO project, and other renovations are going to continue to be part of our operating capital expenditures. We have a $180,000 payment on our athletic lighting and track and fencing and equipment that'll come into play in FY22. And again, our school building project is up substantially. We're going to be contributing to our capital stabilization fund, $260,000. We established that 5 years ago because we felt that we wouldn't have enough money in the MSBA formula for furniture, fixtures, and equipment. As you can imagine, equipment in a vocational technical school is significant, and the formula from MSBA doesn't provide for that. We were successful in getting grants, so there's a good, healthy balance in capital stabilization that we're going to use for increasing capacity in the building. As I mentioned, athletic fields and the lighting project is underway. Anticipate it being ready to play this October. We're going to be renting those fields out, and part of the revenue is going to be set aside, at least $168,000 a year, to contribute to the capital stabilization. So when those synthetic fields need to be replaced, we'll have the money to do it on hand. We have a photovoltaic roof system being installed as we speak. This took a little bit longer than we expected, but we needed to get it done to secure $2 million of reimbursement from the MSBA for meeting certain benchmarks when it comes to energy efficiency. The construction is just about completed, and we expect to go into operation in July. It's a lease purchase operation with an annual savings of $30,000 to $40,000 from our electrical bill. OPEB liability continues to be a concern. Our current liability is $32 million. We've been putting a modest amount away for the last 5 fiscal years. We've increased it slightly. The long-term approach is to redirect $400,000 a year beginning in FY25 when our ESCO debt is retired. A reminder, our ESCO was a project initiated under a tax-exempt municipal lease about 12 years ago in order to make some improvements to the infrastructure related to heat and utilities in the old building, because there were some real safety concerns. So that's going to be paid off, and I should mention that all 16 towns are paying off on that. And when that's done, we'll have $400,000 to put into OPEB. So again, here's the Acton breakdown of the preliminary assessment of $2.189 million. Again, our operating budget is up just 2.4% for next year. And the preliminary assessment for Acton is $2.2 million, an increase of $450,000. So thank you for your time, and I look forward to answering any questions you might have.